Today we have Scott B with us today of My Business on Purpose. How are you, Scott?
Doing great, Gabby. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And so happy to have you on here. And so please just tell us about who you are and what your company does.
Yeah, so we actually we're business on purpose. We do one thing, pretty straightforward, pretty focused, that we liberate business owners from their chaos so they can spend less time putting out fires and constantly throwing Hail Marys, and they can spend more time on doing the things that matter most.
Absolutely. So what kind of chaos are we talking about here specifically? As we know, there can be a lot of different ones. What ones you maybe specifically help your
Well,
clients with?
any of the audience that's listening who are business owners, these are the ones that they wake up. In fact, if they ever went to sleep, because most nights they're spending invoicing, bookkeeping, reconciling, figuring out project management snafus and those sorts of things. And so a lot of these things go awry because that's what happens in business. Is business is a long string of not only going towards a vision, but also helping to correct things along the way to make sure that everything's flowing well aligned with your mission. And so any of those things as it relates to four major systems in every business: administratively, operationally, sales, and marketing. And so what we do is we come at it from a principle based standpoint instead of a strategic base. Strategy is great, it's neat, but the field that we play on is the principle base. So whether you're selling ice cream or you're building houses or you're hanging sheetrock, it doesn't matter what you're doing and what the product or service is that you're offering. These foundational principles of how to actually build a business, those are the things that we're locked in on.
Okay. And so how did you get into that? Sounds like it's coming from a personal experience kind of situation.
Yeah. So there's, life is a string of connected, kind of broken events. And so throughout my coming up, spent my background is in large multinationals, very small non-governmentals. So it's a mix of a variety of different organizational setups, some for profit, some non-for-profit. And
Mhm.
in doing that, one thing stayed steady the entire time, and it's the necessity of an incredibly detailed vision story or vision layout. It's in a sentence or a paragraph. I'm talking about multi-pages
Mhm.
of a snapshot of the destination of whatever that organizational leader sees, a business owner, a nonprofit leader. And so as I started to see that, and in some cases, leaders really owning that, and in other cases, leaders not succumbing to it at all, you start
Mhm.
to realize the vitality of it. And so we began to put that together in the different organizations that we worked in. And about 6 years ago, at the time of this recording, we started Business on Purpose because of a real need that business owners had, because they were starting their businesses, but they had really bad bosses
Mhm.
themselves. And they were tired of kind of being slave to this business and really wanted to build something that not only would serve them and their families, but other families as well.
Absolutely. And so, how do you then kind of create fresh opportunities to then best serve your customers? So obviously, there's kind of different like consultants and everything like that. What is the difference for you?
Yeah, Gabby, one of the things, and I wish part of me is tempted to make this much more complex than it actually is.
Hmm.
The reality is that when we see a pain point, a challenge, a principle, something that's there, that's been there for thousands of years, that we sort of look back, research, understand, harness that, and then implant that into the day to day of the business owners. Things like delegation, things like classic old org charts, structure, those
Hmm.
sort of things. We even look at the human body and realize, wow, the human body is actually structured in a series of systems: an
Right.
endocrine system, the skeletal system. And so if a body, incredibly complex organism is operating that way, why wouldn't a business operate that way as
Right.
well? And so
Hmm.
as we're looking through those lenses, just last week we built a hiring compensation calculator that came out of a need that a client had, because we were tired of seeing our clients hire people and just guessing as to what to pay them.
Hmm.
So we actually built a calculator, so they still have to use some intuition, but now they've got some objectivity to go along with it.
And so, I want to go back to what you mentioned in the previous question about, like you said, writing out the vision. How important is it to have the vision, the idea, everything just on paper, something that you can see rather than just jumbled up in your mind?
Got a call yesterday from a home builder who'd got my name from a mutual contact, and called, and he said, "Hey, I'm interested in having you come out and speak, do a retreat, and those sorts of things." We don't do a ton of those. We do some,
Hmm.
but they sort of have to fall within a very specific scope for what we do. And as we got to talking, he was using the verbiage, Gabby, that you're just using now: vision,
Mhm.
mission, values, all those things. And so in my head, I start to find myself nodding in agreement. But fortunately, I stopped, kind of backed up, and I said, hey, just curious, when you say vision, is that actually written down somewhere? And he's like, no, 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 but we talk about it all the time.
Mm.
And the reality is, I heard this one time and we've adopted it since, is if it's not written down, it doesn't exist.
Right.
And I could even go so far as to say, if it's not written down in detail where people all throughout the organization can grab it and
Mhm.
make it their own, then it's not reality. And so you can talk about the buzz phrases of the vision, mission, values, et cetera, all you want. But the reality is you need people to own it. And by owning it, what we mean is talking about it repetitiously. So
Right.
every 2 months, our team gets together for 1 hour solely devoted on me literally reading back through our 4-page vision. And I just read it from top to bottom every 2 months. Now, we talk intentionally about our mission and our values, and well, usually every day informally, but once a week at our team meeting, we
Mhm.
bring up specifically our mission and values. Those things not only have to be written down, but they have to be on repeat in the regular conversation in
Mhm.
set times throughout the organizational life.
And so for the vision, is that something that can be altered or shifts at all throughout the process, or it's something where it's like this is kind of the foundation what we always should keep as our roots?
Yeah. Wow. What a good question. So, what we've found is the vision is really never more than about 90 to 95% complete,
Mhm.
because we've never been there. And
Right.
so I
Mhm.
could tell you, hey, I want to go to Des Moines, Iowa. I've never been there, but I want to tell you that it's kind of this. I think it looks like this. There's these attributes. The closer I get, I can tweak it. So, about once a quarter, we tweak
Mhm.
our vision. We don't do wholesale changes unless we're having a real sort of introspective soul level heart look. But
Mhm.
the reality is, we want to be very cautious of that. We want these visions to be very in depth because we've just spread it to the entire organization,
Right.
which is why we need to take our time writing them down, is
Mhm.
because you're about to infect the entire organization with this very detailed written vision so that they can grab on. There's a good statement. It says, write the vision down so those who read it may run. And so you're a runner. I've done my
Yes.
homework. I know you're a runner. And my son is a runner. He's about to go run at university next year. And
Okay.
he's kind of a middle distance to a distance runner. And here's what I know: at every cross country meet, at every distance race, on the track, whatever it is, there's always a very clear vision.
Yes.
Run
Mhm.
around it this many times and get to that line before anybody else,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
based on times or whatever. It's very specific. And so, can you imagine showing up to a track and field event and looking around and going, "Hey, where do I'm
Who's
ready
here
to
to
run.
run?
Where do I go?"
You're
And
right.
they're like, "Oh, no, 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 just wherever you want to do." Like, it just doesn't
Mhm.
work. And I know it's a silly metaphor, but that's actually what we do in business: is we
Right.
just hire people and we go, "Hey, what do we want to do?" And so
Mhm.
I'm literally standing in a side room of an events business, one of a client of ours and member of ours, and they run an events. I mean, in their events room where they hold all of their stuff, and right out there is an event we're going to be having tomorrow with about 100 people, probably about 20 different businesses, owners, and their key leaders in this one place. And the cool thing about what'll be in that room
Mhm.
is that it will be a unified group of 20 business owners who are all adopting this mindset. They've all got written multi-page visions. They've got one sentence, less than 10-word mission statements, and they've all got very unique core values, no more than 5 in each business. And so when they come into a room, there's even a shared vision with those businesses amongst themselves. And it's
Mhm.
this idea of, we want to be a business that's being liberated from chaos.
That's so powerful, and it's always such a great experience too, where you can bring so many like-minded people to just talk with each other, talk with each other, and learn from each other.
Yeah. Yeah. We call it positive peer pressure. So
Okay.
because
Okay.
we actually have them do a 12-week plan here at the event. So
Mhm.
first hour and a half of content, the last hour, they just sit around the tables with their teams while all the other teams are around them and they build out their next 12-week plan. We do these events every
Wow.
13 weeks.
Okay.
And so it is super, super cool to watch all of these businesses sort of feeling that pressure, but a
Mhm.
healthy pressure from other
Right.
people, and they're pushing each other the whole way.
Absolutely, 'cause it sounds like something obviously that's like, "Oh, we'll get to that later, we'll get to that later," and it's like you said, when you have that positive peer pressure, it's like and, that kind of competitive drive we naturally have as business owners, like, "Okay, well, we
Yeah.
gotta get this done because other people are getting it done."
Yeah, they're doing it over
Yeah.
there. Don't you see? And we kind of sneak a peek over there. But we have found it being one of the most healthy things that, in coaching business owner, and this is for any business coaches listening,
Mhm.
you've got to create community of business owners. It's not good enough
Mhm.
to just coach people sort of hit or miss here or there. You'll coach them for a while, there'll be good progress, and you'll bring impact to their business. But man, when you put community in
Mhm.
place, that's jet fuel on these businesses, and they
Mhm.
start to get this exponential return.
And that's such an important point as well, because I think sometimes so much consultation can be based on like the business owner, what they need to do, what they need to change. But you said it's a community. You're not running the business by yourself. And if you have a leader but everyone else is lost, there's no progress anyways.
That's right. Yeah.
And so where do you see your business going in the next few years, and what are your plans to make that vision happen?
Gabby, wouldn't that be awkward if I didn't have an answer for that question based
Right.
on what we were just talking about with vision? So, two very clear things. One is we're in the process of taking our entire business model and we're going to put a franchise together for a certain niche. We're not at
Mhm.
liberty to be able to talk about that just yet because we're
Okay.
going through the franchise process, but we are taking our business as a model for that. But for our business, what we call the boutique side of our business, the non-franchise side, with Business on Purpose, within the next 3 years. We currently have 4 coaches, and we will be up to 6 coaches within the next 3 years.
Mhm.
And so we hire very slowly. Our average hiring process is about 4 months,
Okay.
because we really do try to practice what we preach. In fact, our client here, when I walked in, they were in the midst of a hiring discussion with a new potential team member. And when she got done, she came downstairs and she just looked at me and I'm like, "What's going on?" She said, "Your freaking hiring process is so long." I'm like, "Yes, I know, but you'll thank me for it in 6 and
Mhm.
12 and 18 months when you actually get along with that person
Right.
and you like having them on the team."
Mhm.
So yeah, that's why we want to slowly just begin to continue to work our way up.
Absolutely. It's mini sprints for a marathon.
Hey, spoken like a true runner.
Yes, yes, yes. So before we go, tell us about your book as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I actually got one of those out of me a couple of years ago. It's called Let Your Business Burn. Stop putting out fires, discover purpose, and build a business that matters.
Mhm.
Gabby, it takes everything we do in the coaching room and basically just put it in book form. So if we never have the opportunity to coach somebody, they've got the bulk of our roadmap content. That's our foundational content,
Mhm.
all in the book, templates, everything's in there. And if they can take it and go do it themselves, then we cheer them on and go do it yourselves. And if they can't, just call us. We can help.
Perfect. And where can they go? Where can listeners go to get the book?
mybusinessonpurpose.com. So if you go there, mybusinessonpurpose.com, you can get the book. Also, our podcast, we upload content on our podcast every week, our YouTube channel every week, a lot of
Mhm.
free content on there. And on the homepage, we actually answer the top 7 most frequent questions. And the very first question is, how much does business coaching cost? We do not shy away from the hard questions right on the homepage of our website.
We love the transparency. And if any of our
Yeah.
listeners want to connect with you personally,
Yeah. Just head on over to our website or you can check me out on LinkedIn, Scott Beebe.
perfect. Well, Scott Beebe, thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed listening to you.
Thanks, Gabby.